At 61, Michael Turner sat alone in the parking lot of a grocery store outside Columbus, Ohio, staring at a text message he had already read 12 times. It was only 8 words long. "Dad, I can't make it this weekend. Sorry." The screen went dark. For a moment, he simply sat there with the engine running and his hands resting on the steering wheel. Around him, people loaded groceries into trunks. A young father lifted a laughing little girl onto his shoulders. A teenage boy argued with his mother about something neither of them would remember tomorrow. Life moved around Michael like a river, and for the first time in years, he felt completely outside of it. His phone buzzed again. Not from his daughter. A work email. Even after 40 years, they still needed him. Still called him. Still depended on him. Michael looked at the notification and laughed quietly. A strange laugh. The kind people make when they finally realize something they should have understood years earlier. He deleted the email without opening it. Then he drove home. The house was silent when he walked inside. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a finished basement, everything he had worked his entire life to afford. The walls displayed framed awards, certificates, and photographs from company events. Proof of success, proof of achievement, proof that he had spent decades becoming someone important. Yet there wasn't a single recent family photo anywhere in the house. Not one. His eyes stopped on an old picture near the hallway. A much younger Michael stood beside his wife, Sarah. Between them was a 7-year-old girl with missing front teeth and messy brown hair. Emily. Back when she still waited by the window every evening. Back when she believed her father could do anything. Michael picked up the frame. Dust covered the glass. He couldn't remember the last time he had looked at it. The memory arrived without warning. A softball field. Summer heat. Emily at age 12. Nervously adjusting her glove before the biggest game of her season. "Dad, you'll be there, right?" He remembered tying his tie while rushing toward the door. "Of course I'll be there." She smiled. A smile full of certainty. Children always believe promises. Until enough promises get broken. The memory shifted. Traffic. A conference call. A delayed flight. By the time Michael arrived at the field, the parking lot was empty. Only Sarah remained, folding a lawn chair. Emily sat in the passenger seat of their car, staring straight ahead. Did they win? Michael had asked. Sarah looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "She hit the winning run." Michael remembered smiling. He thought that should have been good news. Instead, Sarah's eyes filled with disappointment. "She kept looking for you after every inning." The memory disappeared. Michael stood frozen in his hallway. He had forgotten that day. Completely forgotten it. Emily hadn't. Children never forget who showed up, and who didn't. That evening, Michael opened an old storage box in the basement. He wasn't entirely sure why. Inside were decades of family memories. Drawings, birthday cards, school projects, photographs. Pieces of a life he had always intended to make time for later. At the bottom of the box, he found a small envelope. His name was written across the front in a child's handwriting. For Dad. Michael opened it carefully. Inside was a folded sheet of paper. A school assignment. The title read, "My Hero." His throat tightened before he even began reading. Because he already knew who Emily had written about. And he already knew he didn't deserve it. Slowly, he unfolded the paper. The first sentence came into view. Then the second. By the third line, his eyes stopped moving. A cold feeling settled into his chest. Because what his daughter had written 20 years earlier revealed something he had spent his entire life refusing to see. And suddenly, Michael understood that the greatest loss in his life wasn't something he had failed to earn. It was something he had failed to notice, disappearing. One missed moment at a time. Michael lowered himself onto the basement floor. The old paper trembled slightly in his hands. The handwriting was uneven, letters leaning in different directions the way children write before they learn perfection matters. For a long moment, he simply stared at it. Then he began reading. "My hero is my dad. My dad works very hard. He helps lots of people at his job. Sometimes he has to travel on airplanes. Sometimes he comes home late. But I know he loves me because he says he is doing it for our family." Michael swallowed. The words blurred. He continued, "When I grow up, I want to work hard just like my dad. Maybe then we can spend more time together. The sentence hit him harder than he expected. Not because of what it said, because of what it revealed. Even at 11 years old, Emily had already learned something no child should have to learn. If she wanted time with her father, she had to wait until someday. Always someday. Never today. Michael folded the paper and sat motionless. The basement was quiet except for the faint hum of the furnace. He looked around at the boxes stacked against the walls. 30 years of family life stored away like forgotten inventory. And suddenly he wanted to know what else he had missed. What else he had traded for meetings, deadlines, and promotions. He opened another box. Then another. And another. Hours passed. Old birthdays, school plays, family vacations, photographs. Each item felt like evidence from a trial, where he was both defendant and witness. Near midnight, he found a small camcorder tape. A handwritten label covered the side. Emily, age 9, school performance. Michael stared at it. He remembered the event, or at least he thought he did. He remembered promising to attend. He remembered having every intention of being there. The rest was less clear. The next afternoon, he dug an old video player out of storage and connected it to the television. Static filled the screen. Then the image appeared. A school auditorium. Parents chatting. Children waiting backstage. The camera shook slightly as Sarah adjusted her grip. Then Emily walked onto the stage. Small, nervous, scanning the crowd. Even through the grainy footage, Michael could see it. She was searching. Looking row after row. Looking for one face. His face. The performance began. Emily delivered her lines perfectly. The audience applauded. Children smiled. Parents waved. And several times during the recording, Emily glanced toward the same empty seat. Michael paused the video. His chest felt heavy, because he remembered exactly where he had been. A hotel conference room in Chicago. Closing a deal. The deal had felt important, urgent, critical. Now he couldn't even remember the client's name. The contract was long gone. The company had merged years ago. Nobody involved still worked there. Yet the empty seat remained, frozen forever on an old videotape. A permanent record of what he chose. Or perhaps, what he failed to choose. That evening he called Sarah. His ex-wife answered after the third ring. Michael? Her voice sounded cautious, polite, distant. The voice of someone who had long ago learned not to expect much. Hi. A brief silence followed. Neither knew what to say. It had been months since they last spoke, mostly because there was little reason to. Their marriage had ended nearly 12 years earlier, not because of cheating, not because of abuse, not because of some dramatic betrayal. It had ended from neglect. The slow kind, the quiet kind, the kind that happens one missed dinner, one cancelled vacation, one broken promise at a time. Eventually, there was simply nothing left to save. What do you need? Sarah asked gently. Michael looked at the paused image on the television. Emily standing on stage. The empty seat. The little girl still hoping. And suddenly he asked a question he should have asked years ago. Was I really that absent? The silence on the other end lasted longer this time. When Sarah finally spoke, her voice carried no anger, which somehow hurt more. No, Michael. For a second, relief flickered inside him. Then she continued. You were there. He frowned. What do you mean? Sarah sighed. You were physically there a lot of the time. Michael didn't speak. Your body was in the room, she said quietly. But your mind was always somewhere else. The words landed like a punch, because they were true. Every dinner interrupted by emails. Every vacation interrupted by phone calls. Every conversation shortened by exhaustion. Every family moment treated like something temporary. Before he returned to work, Sarah continued. You always thought you'd have more time later. Michael closed his eyes. That sentence felt painfully familiar. More time later. The philosophy that had guided nearly every major decision of his life. Work now. Live later. Sacrifice now. Enjoy later. Miss today. Make up for it later. But later had finally arrived. And the people he loved had built lives that no longer depended on him. After ending the call, Michael sat alone in the dark living room. The television screen reflected his aging face. For the first time, he wasn't asking how he had lost his marriage, or why his daughter felt distant. he was asking something much harder. What if the life he spent 40 years building had cost him the life that actually mattered? And for the first time in decades, he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. Michael barely slept. The question Sarah had left him with lingered through the night. What if the life he spent 40 years building had cost him the life that actually mattered? By sunrise, he was standing in the kitchen holding a cup of coffee that had already gone cold. The house felt different now. Not larger, not emptier, just honest. For years, he had filled every quiet moment with work. Emails, reports, phone calls, deadlines. The noise had protected him from reflection. Now the silence was forcing him to listen. At 10 o'clock, his phone rang. It was his former colleague, David. Michael almost ignored it. Almost. "Mike," David said enthusiastically. "A few of us are getting together Friday. Retirement dinner for Frank. You coming?" Frank. Michael remembered him immediately. 42 years with the company. Never missed a quarter. Never missed a target. The kind of man executives admired. "Maybe," Michael replied. David laughed. "Come on." Frank practically lived in that building. The words landed strangely. Practically lived in that building. Years ago, Michael would have considered that a compliment. Now it sounded like a warning. "You know something funny?" David continued. "What?" "Frank retired 3 months ago. Nobody's heard from him since." Michael frowned. "What do you mean?" "Nothing dramatic. Just, everyone moves on." After a brief pause, David added quietly, "That's how it works." The call ended. Michael sat staring at the phone. "That's how it works." A phrase that suddenly felt terrifying. For decades, he had believed the company needed him, that his role mattered, that his sacrifices meant something permanent. Yet within months of retirement, even Frank had become a memory, a name, a story, a man replaced by another employee sitting in the same chair. Michael looked around his kitchen. He thought about all the birthdays, the anniversaries, the weekends, the school events, the moments he had exchanged for professional importance. And he wondered whether anyone at work even remembered those sacrifices. The answer came quickly. Of course they didn't, because they had never asked for them. He had volunteered them. Years earlier, he had convinced himself that providing for his family was the same thing as being present for them. The distinction seemed small at the time. Now it looked enormous. That afternoon, he found himself driving across town, without a plan, without a destination, just driving. Eventually, he pulled into a neighborhood he hadn't visited in years. The old house. The first house he and Sarah bought after Emily was born. A modest 2-story home with a small front porch. Different owners lived there now. Fresh paint covered the siding. The landscaping had changed. Yet the sight of it unlocked memories instantly. Michael sat in the car and watched. Children played basketball in the driveway. A woman carried groceries inside. A man mowed the lawn. Ordinary life, the kind he once believed he was working so hard to create. A memory surfaced. Emily at age 6. Riding a bicycle for the first time. Michael remembered running beside her. One hand on the seat. One hand ready to catch her. "Don't let go," she shouted. "I'm right here." Then she was riding. Actually riding. Laughing. Flying down the sidewalk. When she realized he wasn't holding the bike anymore, she panicked. The bicycle tipped. She fell. Scraped her knee. Started crying. Michael rushed forward. Before he could reach her, Emily stood up herself. Tiny hands brushing dirt from her legs. Tears streaming down her face. Then she climbed back onto the bicycle. Again, and again, and again, until she figured it out. The memory made him smile. Then something else followed. A realization. He remembered that day clearly, because he had been present. Not physically present. Actually present. No phone. No meetings. No distractions. Just him and his daughter. One afternoon. One memory. And 25 years later he could still feel it. Michael stared at the house. How many moments like that had he missed? How many existed only in Sarah's memory? Or Emily's? How many chapters of their lives had unfolded while he was somewhere else chasing another promotion? The answer hurt because it was unknowable. You can count money. You can count achievements. You can count years. But you cannot count moments you never experienced. As evening approached, Michael made a decision. It wasn't dramatic. There was no grand speech. No sudden breakthrough, just a quiet choice made by a tired man sitting alone in a parked car. He opened his contacts, strolled down, and stopped at Emily's name. His thumb hovered above the screen. Fear crept into his chest. Not fear of rejection, something deeper. Fear that he had waited too long. Fear that the distance between them had become permanent. Fear that some regrets don't arrive until after the opportunity to fix them has disappeared. For several seconds, he stared at her number. Then he pressed call. The phone began ringing. Once, twice, 3 times. Michael's heartbeat quickened. Then the line connected. And before either of them spoke, he realized this conversation might determine whether there was still a road back, or whether he had already reached the end of it. "Hi Dad," Emily's voice sounded older than he remembered. Not because of age, because of distance. The kind of distance that forms slowly over years, until it becomes part of the relationship itself. Michael suddenly felt unprepared. He had rehearsed dozens of conversations in his head. None of them seemed useful now. "Hi, sweetheart." A brief silence followed. In the background he heard dishes clinking. A television somewhere. The sounds of a life happening without him. "Everything okay?" Emily asked. The question was simple, yet Michael recognized something underneath it. Concern, but also caution. People become cautious around those who disappoint them often enough. "I think so," he said. Another pause. "That's not exactly convincing." For the first time, a small smile crossed his face. She still had Sarah's sense of humor. "I guess I'm trying to figure some things out." Emily waited. Michael took a breath. "I found some old things." "What kind of things?" "Pictures. School projects. Home videos." The line went quiet. Then Emily laughed softly. "Oh no." "What? You found the boxes?" "The boxes?" "The boxes Mom always said you'd eventually discover after retirement." Michael blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means she used to tell me someday you'd finally slow down long enough to notice them." The words weren't cruel. They weren't angry. That somehow made them harder to hear, because they sounded true. "Emily," his voice weakened. "I missed a lot, didn't I?" Silence. Longer this time. Not uncomfortable. Just honest. Finally she answered. "Yeah." No argument. No defense. No reassurance. Just one word. "Yeah." Michael looked out the window. Darkness had settled outside. For years he had been protected by excuses. Work, responsibilities, providing. Now none of those explanations mattered. Only outcomes mattered. And the outcome was sitting quietly on the other end of the phone. A daughter who had learned how to live without her father. "I never meant to." Emily sighed. "I know." The answer surprised him. "You do." "Of course I do." Her voice softened. "Dad, I never thought you didn't love me." Michael closed his eyes. A lump formed in his throat. Then what happened? The question hung between them. Emily seemed to search for the right words. Finally she found them. "You were always planning to be present later." Michael stared at the floor. The exact same thing Sarah had said. The exact same thing his own memories had revealed. "Later, always later," Emily continued. "When I was a kid, I believed later would come." A painful pause. "Then eventually, I stopped expecting it." The words hit harder than anything else she had said. Because disappointment had not destroyed their relationship. Expectation had. A child can survive a missed event, a missed birthday, a cancelled promise. What changes them is realizing the pattern. Realizing that hoping hurts more than expecting nothing. Michael struggled to speak. "I'm sorry." The words sounded small, insufficient, pathetic, even. Yet they were all he had. Emily remained quiet. Then she said something unexpected. "I know you are." No anger. No bitterness. No accusation. Just truth. The conversation lasted another 20 minutes. Mostly ordinary topics. Work, her husband, her teenage son Noah, school, life. Michael listened more than he talked. Really listened. Perhaps for the first time in years. Before hanging up, Emily hesitated. "Hey Dad? Yeah? You should come to Noah's baseball game Saturday." Michael froze. A baseball game. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. "I'd like that." "He pitches now." A hint of pride entered her voice. "Pretty good actually." Michael smiled. "I'll be there." The promise escaped before he could stop it. Immediately fear followed. Not fear of attending. Fear of making another promise. Emily seemed to sense it. Only if you want to, I do. Okay. After the call ended, Michael sat motionless. His chest felt lighter. Not healed. Not redeemed. Just lighter. Then another realization arrived. His grandson was 14 years old. 14. How many games had he already missed? How many birthdays? How many ordinary Saturdays? The same pattern had repeated itself. Not intentionally, but repeatedly. One generation after another. A week later, Michael arrived at the baseball field 40 minutes early. Parents were still unfolding chairs. Players were warming up. The smell of cut grass drifted through the air. He found a seat behind home plate. Then he waited, and waited, and waited. Eventually a familiar car pulled into the parking lot. Emily stepped out first. Then her husband. Then Noah. Tall, broad shoulders, nearly grown. Michael stared. The last time he had really looked at his grandson, he had been a child. Now a young man climbed out of the vehicle. Michael felt a sudden ache. Not because Noah had grown, because growth had happened while Michael wasn't paying attention. Emily spotted him first. Their eyes met across the field. She smiled, a small smile, careful, tentative, but real. Then Noah noticed him too. The teenager lifted a hand in greeting. Nothing dramatic, just a wave. Yet Michael felt something shift inside him. A door opening slightly. Not wide enough to walk through, but wide enough to see possibility on the other side. As the players began taking the field, Michael settled into his seat. For once, there was nowhere else he needed to be. No meeting, no deadline, no urgent call. Only this moment, this game, this family. And as Noah stepped onto the mound, Michael made a silent promise. Not to them, but to himself. If there was still time left, he would stop treating life like something that began after work was finished. Because work had ended, and life, whether he deserved it or not, was still offering him one more chance. The game lasted just under 2 hours. Michael remembered every minute of it. Not because Noah pitched perfectly. He didn't. Not because the team won. They barely did. Michael remembered it because he paid attention. Every pitch, every mistake, every nervous glance toward the dugout, every celebration. For years, he had lived with the illusion that important moments announced themselves, that they arrived with fanfare, with significance, with obvious meaning. But sitting in those aluminum bleachers, he realized something different. Most meaningful moments look ordinary while they are happening. Only later do people understand their value. After the final out, parents gathered near the field. Players laughed. Teenagers checked their phones. Life moved naturally around him. Noah approached, carrying his baseball bag. "Hey, Grandpa." Michael smiled. "Good game." Noah shrugged. "I walked too many guys. You got out of it." The teenager grinned. For a moment Michael saw Emily's smile from 20 years earlier. The resemblance caught him off guard. They talked for several minutes. Nothing profound. School, sports, music. Yet Michael found himself fascinated. Not because Noah was extraordinary, because he was his grandson. And Michael was only now beginning to know him. Eventually Noah's friends called him away. The teenager jogged toward them without hesitation, without guilt, without looking back. Exactly as teenagers should. Michael watched him go. Then Emily appeared beside him. "You stayed the whole game." Michael laughed. "That's a low bar. You'd be surprised." Her tone wasn't cruel, just honest. They stood together, watching players leave the field. For the first time in years, the silence between them felt comfortable. Not empty, not strained. Comfortable. It felt like progress. Small progress, but real. As they walked toward the parking lot, Emily suddenly asked, "Do you remember my 16th birthday?" Michael's stomach tightened. The question arrived without warning. And worse, he wasn't sure of the answer. Emily noticed immediately. His face gave him away. A sad smile appeared. "That's okay." "No," Michael said quietly. "Tell me." She looked ahead while walking. "You were supposed to be home by 6. A memory stirred. Not a complete memory. Fragments. Traffic. An airport. A client meeting. Emily continued. "I kept watching the driveway." Michael felt sick. Because now he remembered. At least enough. "Your mother told everyone to start eating." Emily nodded. "I said we'd wait." Michael closed his eyes briefly. The details were returning. Painfully. One piece at a time. "You called around 8. Neither spoke for several steps. Finally, Emily added, "You promised we'd celebrate the next weekend." Michael already knew what came next, because the look on her face told him he never made it. The next weekend became another delay, then another. Then eventually the moment disappeared entirely. A 16th birthday only happens once. There is no rescheduling it. There is no replacement. There is no makeup version. Life simply moves forward. Michael stopped walking. The parking lot suddenly felt very quiet. "I'm sorry." Emily looked at him. Really looked at him. For several seconds. Then she asked a question he never expected. "Why?" He frowned. "Why what? Why are you apologizing now?" The question wasn't hostile. It was curious. Genuine. Michael searched for an answer. The truth surprised even him, because for most of my life, I thought intentions mattered more than outcomes. Emily listened. "I always meant to be there." His voice cracked slightly. "I meant to make time." He looked down at the pavement. "I meant to come home earlier." A painful laugh escaped him. "I meant a lot of things." Emily nodded slowly. Because she understood. Not because she agreed. Because she understood. "Intentions don't create memories, Dad." The sentence landed with devastating simplicity. Intentions don't create memories. Presence does. Time does. Attention does. Not intentions. For decades, Michael had judged himself by what he meant to do. His family had experienced only what he actually did. Those were not the same thing. Later that evening, after returning home, Michael sat at his dining room table. The house looked exactly the same, yet everything felt different. For years, he had viewed his life through the lens of achievement. Income, promotions, titles, recognition. Now he found himself evaluating it through a different lens entirely. Who remembered him? Who trusted him? Who wanted him around? The answers were uncomfortable, because success had earned admiration, but not necessarily connection. And admiration becomes surprisingly lonely once the audience disappears. His phone rang. David again. "Mike, you coming Friday? The retirement dinner?" "Yeah." Michael hesitated, then asked, "How many people do you think will be there?" David laughed. 100 maybe? And next year? What? Next year? How many people will still be talking about Frank's retirement? Silence. David finally chuckled. "You're getting philosophical in your old age." Maybe. Or maybe Michael was finally seeing things clearly. After ending the call, he walked into the hallway. The old photograph of Sarah and Emily still sat where he had left it. He picked it up again. This time he noticed something he had missed before. Neither Sarah nor Emily cared about the camera. Both were looking at him, smiling at him, as if he were the center of their world. The realization hit like a punch. There had once been a period in his life when the people he loved most wanted nothing more than his attention. And he had spent much of that time looking somewhere else. For a long while, Michael stood there holding the frame. Then he whispered words no one else could hear. Words directed toward a younger version of himself. A younger man who believed there would always be another weekend, another vacation, another birthday, another chance. Don't wait. But the younger man was gone. The years were gone. And all Michael could do now was decide what to do with the time that remained. What he didn't realize was that life was about to give him a test. A chance to prove whether his regret was genuine or whether it was simply another lesson he would understand too late. The call came at 2:17 a.m. Michael woke instantly. Not because he was a light sleeper, because something about late-night phone calls always meant trouble. He stared at the screen. Emily. His stomach tightened before he even answered. "Emily?" Her voice came through broken, uneven. "Hey, Dad." Something was wrong. He sat up in bed. What happened? A pause. Then? "It's Noah." Michael was already out of bed. What about him? Another shaky breath. "We're at the hospital." The words didn't fully register at first. Hospital. Then they did. And everything in him went still. "What happened?" he repeated, sharper now. There was a sound in the background. Voices, footsteps, a distant announcement. "Baseball practice," Emily said. "He got hit." Michael closed his eyes for a second. "How bad?" "I don't know yet." Her voice cracked on the last word. "We're waiting for scans." Michael was already grabbing his keys. "I'm coming." There was a hesitation. "Are you sure?" That question again. The same cautious tone she used when she wasn't certain he would actually show up. This time, there was no hesitation in him. Yes, the drive to the hospital felt unreal. Empty roads, street lights passing like blurred memories. Michael gripped the steering wheel too tightly. Not because he was speeding, because he was afraid of what he might be driving toward. For decades, emergencies at work had felt urgent. Deals, deadlines, clients. None of them had ever felt like this, because none of them involved someone he loved lying in a hospital bed. When he arrived, Emily was sitting in the waiting room alone. Her hair was disheveled. Her hands were shaking. The moment she saw him, something in her posture changed. Not relief exactly, but stability. Like she had been holding something fragile and could finally set part of the weight down. Michael sat beside her without speaking. For once, there were no gaps to fill with explanations. No history to revisit. No apologies to exchange. Just presence. Minutes passed, then an hour. A doctor finally approached. Michael stood with Emily automatically. The doctor spoke calmly. Concussion. No internal bleeding. Bruised ribs. Observation needed. No life-threatening injuries. The words came in pieces, but slowly formed something close to relief. Emily covered her face with her hands and exhaled. A sound somewhere between crying and exhaustion. Michael put a hand on her shoulder. She didn't move away. That small detail mattered more than anything else in that moment. Later, when they were allowed to see Noah, Michael stopped at the doorway. The teenager lay in a hospital bed, pale, tired, but awake. He turned his head slightly. "Hey," Noah said weakly. Michael stepped closer. "Hey." There was a bruise forming along his cheek, bandages on his ribs, but his eyes were clear. Emily moved to the other side of the bed immediately. "Don't talk too much," she said softly. Noah smiled faintly. Too late. A small laugh escaped Emily. The kind of laugh that comes after fear begins to loosen its grip. Michael stood quietly at the foot of the bed, watching, not interfering, just there. At some point, Noah looked at him. "You came fast," the boy said. Michael nodded. "Yeah." A pause. "You didn't have to," Noah added. Michael shook his head. "I did." Simple words. No explanation needed. Noah studied him for a moment, then nodded slightly, as if accepting something without fully understanding it. Hours passed. Eventually, Emily fell asleep in the chair beside the bed. Noah drifted in and out. Michael remained awake, watching the monitors, listening to the steady rhythm of machines. At some point in the early morning, Noah spoke quietly. "Mom says you used to miss a lot of stuff." Michael didn't look away from the monitor. "Yeah." Another pause. "Do you feel bad about it?" The question was direct, not accusatory, just curious. Michael considered lying. It would have been easier. But something had changed in him over the past weeks. So he answered honestly, "Yes." Noah nodded. "She says people can change." Michael finally looked at him. "Do you believe that?" The teenager shrugged slightly. "I think people only change if something forces them to." Michael understood what he meant. Pain, loss, fear, reality. "Maybe," Michael said. Noah stared at the ceiling. "I guess this counts as forcing." A faint smile crossed Michael's face. "Yeah," he said quietly. "It does." Morning light began to filter through the hospital blinds. Emily woke briefly, saw both of them awake, and immediately checked Noah again. The instinct of a mother, even exhausted, still alert, still protecting. Michael watched her, and something inside him shifted again. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but deeply. He saw her differently now, not as someone he had lost time with, but as someone who had learned to live without him, and still made space for him when he finally showed up. That realization hurt and healed at the same time. Later that morning, as Noah was moved for additional observation, Michael stepped outside the hospital for fresh air. The sky was gray, the city already moving into its routines. People going to work, people starting their day, normal life continuing as if nothing had changed. But Michael had changed. He stood there for a long time. Then he took out his phone, opened his email, strolled past hundreds of old messages, until he reached something he had never done before. He began composing a message, not to his company, not to a client, to his assistant. It was short, direct, final. By the time he pressed send, his hands were steady, and for the first time in decades, he felt something unfamiliar but clear. He had not just survived a night, he had crossed a line he could never uncross. And on the other side of that line, his old life was no longer in control of him. The question now was simple. What kind of man would he become in the time he had left? And more importantly, would it be enough to repair anything that still mattered? Michael didn't go to work that Monday, not because he was officially retired yet, not because he had taken leave, but because for the first time in his life, he simply didn't feel like asking permission. The email he had sent from outside the hospital had been brief, clear, irreversible. By the time his company responded, he had already made a different kind of commitment, one that didn't involve contracts or titles. It involved people. Noah was discharged 2 days later. The hospital doctor's final instructions were simple. Rest, no sports for several weeks, follow-up appointments. Emily insisted on staying at their house for a few days. Michael didn't object. He found himself doing something unfamiliar, making space. Not for work, for family. The first morning at his house with them there felt strange. Breakfast in the kitchen. Noise, movement, life happening in rooms that had been silent for years. Noah sat at the table scrolling his phone. Emily packed a small bag for him. Michael stood near the counter, unsure of where he fit. At one point, Noah looked up. "You always cook like this?" Michael glanced at the pan on the stove. Eggs slightly overcooked. Toast uneven? "I used to." Noah smirked. "It shows." Emily shot him a look. "Be nice." Michael actually laughed. A real laugh. Not forced. Not polite. Just real. "I'll take that as a challenge," he said. That small moment changed something in the room. Not dramatically, but noticeably. The atmosphere softened. Over the next few days, Michael tried to be present in small ways, driving Noah to checkups, fixing things around the house, sitting outside while Emily made phone calls. He didn't talk much. He didn't try to explain himself. He simply stayed. One evening, Emily found him on the porch alone. "You're quiet," she said. Michael nodded. "I'm listening more than talking these days." She sat beside him. A long silence passed. Then she asked, "Are you going back to work?" The question wasn't hostile. It was careful, like stepping near something unstable. Michael shook his head. "No." Emily looked at him, surprised, but not shocked. Almost like she had suspected it. "They won't like that." "I know." "Does it matter?" Michael considered the question. A year ago, it would have mattered more than anything. Now, it mattered very little. "No," he said. Emily studied him for a moment. "You're serious?" "I should have been a long time ago." A quiet breeze moved through the trees. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. Normal life again. Emily leaned back slightly. "You're not trying to fix everything all at once, are you?" Michael shook his head. No, that was the truth. For the first time he understood something important. Some things cannot be fixed quickly, or fully, or cleanly. They can only be rebuilt slowly. Through consistency, not intention. Through presence, not promises. Emily nodded slowly. "Good," she said, because she had seen that pattern before. The sudden attempts to repair everything at once. The bursts of guilt-driven change. The exhaustion that followed. This was different. It was quieter, more stable, and harder to fake. Weeks passed. Noah returned to school. Slowly, carefully. Emily began visiting less frequently, but more comfortably. The urgency faded, but something remained. Connection. Not new, not perfect, but real. One Saturday afternoon, Michael found himself in the backyard with Noah. They were tossing a baseball lightly. No pressure, no game, just movement. Noah caught the ball and looked at him. "You ever play seriously?" Michael shrugged. "Not like you." "Why not?" The question was simple, but it carried decades inside it. Michael threw the ball back. "Because I thought I had time later." Noah caught it, nodded, didn't say anything immediately. "Then you say that a lot." Michael smiled faintly. "I know." Another throw, another catch. The rhythm continued. Eventually Noah said, "Mom says you're different now." Michael didn't look surprised. "She's right." "Is it permanent?" The question hung in the air. Michael didn't rush it. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I'm not going back to how I was." Noah considered that, then nodded. "That's something. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was acknowledgement. And in Michael's world now, that was enough to keep building on. Later that night, after Noah went inside, Emily remained outside with him. They sat in silence for a while. Then she said something unexpected. "You know what changed me the most?" Michael looked at her. She continued. "It wasn't you being absent." A pause. "It was realizing I stopped expecting you to show up." That sentence carried no blame, only truth. Michael felt it deeply, because he understood exactly what she meant. Loss doesn't always feel like abandonment at first. It feels like adjustment. People slowly adapt to absence, until absence becomes normal, and then presence feels unfamiliar. Emily stood up. "I'm not angry anymore," she said. Michael looked up at her. "Not because it didn't matter," she added, "but because I don't want to carry it forever." That distinction mattered. He nodded. "I understand." She hesitated, then placed a hand briefly on his shoulder. Not a hug, not emotional, just contact. A bridge. "I'm glad you're here now," she said. Then she walked inside. Michael stayed outside for a long time after that, sitting in the quiet, thinking about something he finally understood. Regret doesn't disappear when you change, but it can stop defining you if you stop running from it and start living differently because of it. Inside the house, he could hear faint laughter, voices, life continuing, and for the first time in a long time, Michael didn't feel like an outsider to it. He felt included, not forgiven completely, not healed completely, but present. And presence, he was beginning to learn, was the only thing that ever truly mattered. 2 years later, Michael stood in the same backyard, but everything about him was different. Not younger, not suddenly transformed, just quieter, steadier, more grounded in things that could actually be held onto. The grill was on. Smoke drifted slowly into the evening air. Noah was inside grabbing drinks. Emily was on the phone nearby, laughing at something her husband had said. Normal life, the kind Michael used to think he was building for them. Now he understood something different. He hadn't built their lives. He had only been trying to fund them. There was a difference he could no longer ignore. Noah walked back outside and handed him a soda. "You still thinking about selling the house?" the teenager asked. Michael nodded. "Too big for one person." Noah leaned against the railing. "You're not one person though." Michael looked at him. Noah continued, "You're kind of part of us now." The words were simple, but they landed deeper than anything emotional he had heard in years. Not forgiveness, not closure, something more real. Inclusion. Emily stepped outside just then, ending her call. "What are you two talking about?" "Grandpa thinks he's lonely," Noah said. Emily raised an eyebrow. Michael shook his head. "I didn't say that. You didn't have to," Noah replied. Emily smiled slightly and sat down. A comfortable silence followed. One Michael once thought he would never have again. Later that evening, after dinner, Emily brought out an old box. She placed it on the table. Michael recognized it immediately. The storage box. The one from years ago. He looked at her. "I thought we were done with those." Emily shook her head. "We're not done. We just don't need them controlling everything anymore." She opened it. Inside were photos, old drawings, school papers, pieces of a life that once felt like accusations. Now they just felt like history. Emily handed him one photo. It was him, much younger, standing beside her at a park. She was on his shoulders, both of them laughing. Michael stared at it for a long time. "I don't remember this day," he said quietly. Emily smiled. "I do." That was the truth he had spent years learning. He had not been absent from everything. He had been present for some things. But presence had not been consistent enough to build trust, or memory, or certainty. Emily placed the photo back. "You know what Noah said last week?" "What?" "He said you're the most reliable person he knows now." Michael looked up, surprised. "I'm serious," she added. "He said when you say you'll be there, you are." Michael felt something tighten in his chest. Not pain this time. Something softer. Something earned. "I didn't think I'd ever hear that about me," he said. Emily shrugged. "You had to become it first." That sentence stayed with him longer than anything else. They sat there for a while. No urgency. No unresolved tension needing fixing. Just time passing in a way that felt shared. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Michael stepped outside alone. The house behind him was warm with light. Inside, voices still occasionally drifted through walls. Life continuing. But now it included him. He sat on the porch steps and looked out at the quiet street. He thought about the man he used to be. The one who believed providing was enough. The one who believed later was guaranteed. The one who believed intention was almost the same as presence. He wasn't angry at that man anymore. Anger had faded. What remained was understanding and responsibility. Not for the past, but for what came after it. His phone buzzed. A message from Emily. Dad, Noah has a game Saturday. 10 a.m. Don't be late. Michael smiled. He typed back, I'll be there. He paused, then added something new. Something he would have never said years ago. No matter what, he sent it. And this time, he meant it in a way that didn't depend on intention, only action. He looked up at the night sky. The same sky that had watched his entire life unfold. The same sky that had seen him miss so much. But also the same sky that still gave him mornings. Still gave him chances. Still gave him time. Not unlimited, but enough. Enough to do things differently. Enough to show up. Enough to become someone his family could rely on without hesitation. From inside the house, he heard laughter again. His daughter, his grandson, life, and for the first time in decades, Michael Turner understood something simple and irreversible. The biggest regret most men discover too late is not failure. It is realizing they were never fully present for the life they were trying so hard to build. But even that regret does not have to be the end of the story. Sometimes, it becomes the reason the story finally changes.